Hey guys, Justin at V55 here. Another episode of V55 Garage. I've been meaning to do this one for a while. This is my wife's Travelall, and it's just been off and on the road for the last, 2 years now. I've been trying to make it a daily. Transmission blew up, and it sat for a while. Engine blew up, sat for a while. Anyway, it's real close. She's been driving it every day, but there's still a bunch of stuff to work out. But close enough that I can make a video for you guys. So, international, we've kind of turned into an international family now. We have a Travelall 560 tractor. We have this is a 69 Travelall. Before anybody yells at me, it's a 72 grill. It's 69 Travelall. And we're getting something else coming down the pike pretty soon, which you guys will see in a bit. But anyway, 69 Travelall. This is a 1010 with the V8. And this was kind of a survivor. This is not the original color. The original color was this metallic blue. The whole interior is that color still, which is in great shape. The white was done after the fact. Long time ago, though. It looks like a 60s paint job. Or not 60s, 70s paint job. But when I got it, one of the fenders was busted up. Tailgate was busted up. So I did the body work on those and matched the paint, which you can't even tell which ones I did now. But eventually it's going to be like a frost blue she wants to do, but that's going to happen when it happens. But it's a real nice little truck. This is a two-wheel drive automatic, which is harder to find. She wanted that, and now she's saying it would have been nice to have the four-wheel drive like I was pushing, but oh well. So the the Travelall tractor that I talked about, I have a video on that. There's also an international refrigerator video I got up on our page if you want to look at those. But 69 Travelall, international harvester. Like I said, 72 grill before you yell at me. International started as an agricultural equipment company. Binders, corn binders, you hear that as a nickname for them. That's because they started with farming equipment. And the name stuck because farmers swore by all their stuff. And they were the primary customers of light trucks when they first came out as well, because they sold them through their rural dealerships and fleet markets. They didn't have suburb automotive row dealerships, which actually was part of what led to their downfall. But so they started ag equipment tractors. The first truck, though, was in 1909, and it was just like what you think of a kind of like a model double T, except real beefy. They were even beefy stuff back then. They tend to over-engineer everything for toughness, which is great. They're great trucks. They're a little overcomplicated in some ways, and they're odd in a lot of ways, but they kind of just did their own thing in a lot of ways. The Scout was in 61, and that was kind of their big heyday. It was when the Scout came out, the original Scout 80. And at that time, the Travelall was a different truck. It was, and the truck itself, the truck version, was different. I have a video on that as well for the 68 Travelall, which is the year before this, and it's the generation before. Totally different truck, very trucky. And the Travelall came out in the late 50s, basically a station wagon version of a truck. It was the first SUV, other than coach built stuff. Chevy and Ford both did coach built versions of this kind of thing for logging operations, railroad stuff. But this was the first kind of off the line SUV. Was the Travelall, the gen before this. So when this one came out in 69, this boxy look, this was based on the Scout, which if you go look those up, the 61 Scout, the front end, the build, the body panels, they're all very similar. And it was such a success that they based the whole car line on it later, the whole front end. And then from this look, then they went to the Scout 2 off of this. So basically this family resemblance all started with the Scout. It didn't look like this at all, really, from the generation before it. But this is called the Now look, is what they called it. Which I don't really know what they were saying with that. But so they came in the wagon, which is the Travelall version. They came in the truck. They came in a crew cab, which is the Travelette, and then they came in the Wagon Master, which was like a Travelette, uh, but with a bunch of luxury stuff. And then that might have been the fifth wheel one too. There's one that was like a really tiny little bed, and it was basically made for pulling trailers and stuff. And then you could get a wagon panel van version as well too. You could order anything from International. Harlem Globetrotters actually had a Travelall, I think it was the gen before this, with like 18 doors or something, like a limousine, and they ordered 3 of them so they could show up at the games and all open the doors and get out, dribbling balls. And International would shut down their whole line to make whatever you wanted as long as you paid for it, which, again, another downfall thing. They had a truck for every customer, but that means every customer stopped the line when it go through, so they were operating under like 0 profit margins the whole time. But so the D series, which is what they call this gen, the new look, the gen before this was the C series, and that started in '69, like I said. But the last light trucks the International Harvester made were in 1975, just a couple years after this, and they were the D series as well. And then they weren't making any money, so they shut down the light truck and Travelall divisions completely. They kept the Scout until 1980, I think, the last Scout 2, and that was the last light truck off the line. And then they made big rigs, big trucks, heavy machinery still. They eventually turned into Navistar, which the intellectual property was eventually bought by Volkswagen like a decade ago. And then just this year, Volkswagen announced they're going to be rebooting the Scout name badge, unrelated to all the original cars, but it's actually kind of a cool looking truck for a electric all-wheel drive thing. But so this one has, like I said, they came in 1,000 to 1,500 rating. This is the 1010, and this one has the 345 V8, 3-speed with the Borg Warner Auto 2-wheel drive, and they didn't make their own automatic transmissions because they didn't sell enough of them. They sold 4-wheel drives to pretty much everybody, and so if you wanted a 2-wheel drive, depending on the generation, you got a Ford rebadged Ford transmission, you got a Chrysler rebadged transmission, or you got a Borg Warner, in this case, transmission. And they never made their own. You could get, over the various International products over time, you could get Nissan diesels, you could get AMC motors in them, you could get Caterpillar stuff, you could get Ford stuff, Chrysler stuff, Chevy stuff. They bought all sorts of stuff off of all sorts of different things, but pretty cool. So let's take a look inside. So like I said, this is the original blue that the whole interior paint was. This is original paint. These are the original door panels. The floor I did in Raptor liner to match the paint, so that's not original. There would have been carpet in there. This had the AC and heater system, which is a nice aftermarket thing that we had. Had the dash pad and awesome color seats. You got plenty of room for the kids and all their goldfish crumbs. And this seat folds down completely flat. So if, I didn't mention, this is the custom trim. It's very rare. But if you fold that flat, you get this whole space the size of a long bed truck. And it's pretty neat. The gas tank, rear gas tank, is underneath this panel you can get to. This has dual gas tanks. And then in this side, you knock this up and the spare tire is mounted in there as well. And this one has the manual window crank. You could have gotten barn doors, manual crank, or power window. This one originally was a power window. We replaced it with the manual crank, so there's less things to go wrong. But there's a spring assist, a big torsion bar in here that was broken when we got it, that helps immensely because it's heavy. This is not the original roof rack on this. I think this is off a Rambler, but we wanted a roof rack, and the originals are really hard to find. This is set up for towing. as pretty much every international ever has been. And they even had sales engineering bulletin, pulling trailers with the International Travelall. And that's the plan, is to tow our little pink trailer, which is actually about this size with a dual axle behind this thing. My plan is for the Father's Day rally this summer to be our first trip with the Travelall and the trailer, because it's pretty close. But it's a cool little bulletin that I found, pulling, different stuff, and it talks about weight ratings and brake ranges and tire pressures and all this kind of stuff. But this shows the doors that I was talking about, the rear door options, and this shows the seating options. So there's single seat panel van, you can get double seat, which is what's in this, and triple seat. We actually have a third row seat that's removable that you can put in there. It's not easily removable, but it is removable, and so that's pretty cool. There's a an advertisement, an old TV ad that I found on YouTube that I love and we quote all the time, and it shows a Travelall, pull in a trailer like this, and then it kind of zooms out. It says Travelall, and it zooms out, and behind the trailer, it's hooked up to the Travelall, and then behind the Travelall, it's hooked up to there's a boat hooked up to the trailer. It says, when you need to haul something heavy, and then behind the boat, there's like a jet ski on another trailer, and then it zooms out even further, and they're actually like this up a hill, and it says Travelall, when you need to tow something heavy, and it goes up a mountain. So they're built for towing. But anyway, this is Chelsea 69 Travelall. The weird caps because it's the two-wheel drive automatic with 15-inch rims. Weird trim because it's the custom. Weird grill because that's swapped out. But it's a great truck. It seems to be doing good so far. So I think maybe we'll have to go get another international to add to the family.